The hours they bring me pain. Tangerine, living reflections from a dream. I was her love, she was my queen, and now 1,000 years between.
And I'm here at the Best Western on Dixie Road, and I'm here with the general manager, Mr. Burnbull. That's net. And once again, Best Western has come through by giving us accommodations for the night, and I really want to thank you very much, Mr. Bull.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we're hoping to have more Best Westerns accommodate us when we do our Canada one.
Wonderful.
Next year.
Well, we were pleased that we could help, and we wanted to show not only appreciation but also our full support and respect to what you're doing. And as I said, we were glad to help, and we hope that other Best Westerns will be able to do the same.
Once again,
Thank
you
you
very much.
Thanks for being with us.
Are these reporters over here in Mississauga?
I can keep them.
Give it, yeah, write my name on it. Good. Thanks very much. Thank you. You do, but it may not be in there this Friday. Okay. Thank you. Hi, how are you? Did you want to go inside or maybe...
Sure.
You met my road manager?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Doing all the documents. Try and do is to change that present scenario. Well, we're in that direction. Who are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Derek, George Moncello. Marcy, how are you?
think you can put up that foot one more time for me?
Oh, come on. By the Y to let as many people know about this as possible. And that's where we started making arrangements for my Ontario walk in fitness. I think it's so essential even when you're sick.
And now you got sick in '92, was that right?
Yes.
Okay, now what happened? Like, what's
Well, it was a very normal day when I was just going for my results of my bi-yearly medical checkup. And the doctor said that he noticed something terribly wrong in my blood and asked me to follow up with the specialist. And after seeing the specialist and doing several tests, specialist told me the news that was going to change my life. He told me that I had terminal liver disease and that I only had a couple of years left to live. You know, the only outside chance I had of surviving was to get on the waiting list for a possible transplant. Some realities of, you know, the rate of organ donations, and so at that point I just more or less tried to find acceptance with my fate. And there was a poem that just inspired me and gave me acceptance and you know, made me feel safe. That's the best word I can find, made me feel safe. And that was the poem Footprints. In '94, I got a call from the specialist, my specialist, and she said that she had some good news and bad news for me at that point. Now, the good news was that they felt that I was a very good candidate for the waiting list, and I can go on the waiting list. The bad news was that it was September, and she said the stage where my disease was at that point was very critical, and that I probably wouldn't see Christmas. Organ available for me at the hospital, and I made sure that they had the right person, and they assured me that they did, and the operation took 12 hours, and when I awoke from the operation, I remember having a feeling that I was going to make it, because they lost a loved one, and were courageous and unselfish to think of somebody else and make a life-saving decision, and to someone that they didn't even know. Now that thought sort of has stayed with me up to today, you know, and the nature of I mean, I had this strong desire to acknowledge that act. On a whim, I just decided to walk from Toronto to Ottawa to say thank you and make a wish at the internal flame that more people on the waiting list would have the same fortune as I did. May of 2000, and here's our plan. Our plan is to put 500 days together. It will take us 500 days to go from coast to coast, because we want to make sure that we get to walk through each community in each province right across Canada. And we had gotten so much strong response on this walk and support, and we have a lot of excited organizations, hundreds, that want to get involved with us. So what we're going to do is each day we're going to walk that day and have a group and organization hold the torch and pass it to the next day. And we're going to continue to stimulate and generate this positive spirit of organ transplantation. Here's where our mandate presently stands now. We're strongly looking at creating a national registry. And the reason why is at present, when you do sign your donor card, we encourage people to talk to their family about it, because the family makes the final decision. And here's how not only we feel about this, but many organizations and many people that we talk to. We shouldn't have to have that picture where we're approaching the family at a time of extreme duress and tragedy, and you know, and usually when an organ becomes available is after a tragedy. So the family is so consumed in that moment that it's hard for them to think of anything else. So 60% of the times the family has been vetoing the person's wish. We believe that when an individual wants has a desire to donate their organs after they pass away, that's a very personal wish, and that wish should get carried out. And this is where the registry would fall in place, because that wish would get registered, and you know, the information would be available at every police computer, hospital computer, and the first thing, for example, that would click up after a person's death would be whether the person wished to donate their organs. And we know that other countries that have a national registry are enjoying much success in people that are waiting for organs and having them available.
What other countries would have this?
Spain is a very good example. I think they're leading the world. In Spain, if you go on the waiting list, very good chance that they're going to receive an organ. Like, there's not all this extreme worry by the family, and you know, so they have a very high rate of organ donations, and that is one of the strong reasons. Now another reason, which will consent. My desire presently is to meet the family, the donor family that made that decision, and to personally say thank you to them and let them know the great thing that they did, and how beautiful life is. And I've met many donor families that have the desire to meet the recipient so that they can feel a sense of continuance from their loved ones. Now, at present, the only forms of communication is through a screened letter. I want to create something called mutual consent, where there would be the option available if both parties have a mutual desire to meet. The option would be available for that to happen at some point in time. Incentive for people to donate their organs and their families to carry out the decision, knowing that one day they just might be able to meet the recipient. And it's, you know, one day I wish to meet them, but there are some families that would wish to remain anonymous, and that I would respect to the utmost. And in the case that we do go forward with the mutual consent thing, that if any parties would wish to remain anonymous, that would be kept in the strictest forms. You know, a psychologist would term it that I went through the normal stages of knowing that you are going to die, receiving news of that. I went through the angry stage and the why me and blaming God stage, you know, and you know, finally though, I did reach the acceptance stage, and I found it through that poem. In life, you try and plan your life to make all the right decisions, and you know, to have the best life you can possibly have. And sometimes life hits you, right? In this case, like, I was pretty well planning my my death. You know, I was planning my demise, and life hit me. So I kind of at the beginning thought, well, maybe I received this organ so I can live a normal life now. And I tried to do that because I was trying to resume my normal lifestyle and everything. But there was something that was inside me, of this desire that I had to do more, you know. I had to do, and you know, things were just unfolding. Yes, I would say I am, but it's one aspect that I have to be careful not to talk too much about, because since I'm becoming more or less a spokesperson, I have to remember that there's a lot of people that are atheists and that do donate their organs, and that I don't want to put too much of a religious connotation to this, but because I am, you know, very spiritual, and you know, I mean, I'm doing an article with the Salvation Army and the War Cry. They want to. That's where I can really get into my spiritual.
Has the experience changed?
Absolutely.
Different today than
Oh boy. Well, I mean, you know, my outlook on life is definitely different. I'm living life now with trying to live it at its fullest. And, you know, even while I was sick, I found this comfort zone, a safe zone, where even while knowing that I might die anytime, I felt safe. And that's the greatest feeling to have. And that's the strongest thing that has changed with me. Like my faith is just so strong now. And you know, I try and acknowledge all my spiritual beliefs as often as I can, and practice them wherever I can, and to show as much love as possible, and you know, and I certainly haven't become a preacher or anything like that. You know, it's just.
Made you maybe more tolerant or more
Yes, because
open to people.
exactly, because that doesn't mean that I'm not human anymore, or you know, like, because there's a lot of closed-minded people, and I have to become tolerant with a lot of things too, because there's okay, feel the disappointment, but to carry on. I think that's the strongest thing, is to carry on. About 35 kilometers, I would say, would be the average. I had to put 200 kilometers in 3 days at one point when I was approaching Windsor, because I wanted to reach the 2,000 kilometer milestone there. I should remember, because that was George Marcel.
September 17th?
Yes, September
Okay,
17th.
okay. Has it been, has the walk been what you'd hoped? Has it been everything you expected, or a bit more, or less?
More. I
Okay.
never expected that, you know, this kind of response that we've been getting. It's just gone past. And the other thing is, you know, when you mention roller coaster, there's real things that are going on while we're going from community to community, like real lives and real families and real, and we met 4 or 5 different stories that just caught our hearts, and we got so consumed and involved in those situations. A mother of an 11-year-old girl donating her daughter's organs, and then meeting this lady in Ottawa, and both of us crying when we met. And meeting with a grandmother that lost her 4-year-old daughter waiting for organs, and she found out what we were doing, and she was catching up with us, and she finally met us in Kingston, and just was so thankful for what we were doing here. And then a 7-year-old girl that was waiting for a bone marrow transplant, and that had only a month left to live. A 7-year-old girl that was waiting for a bone marrow transplant, and that had only a month left to live, and getting involved with to get as many signatures and people to become possible donors, and then finding out a few weeks ago that she did receive the you know, and just being so happy with that. And then another girl that was having a baby, or had a baby, and a few days after found out that she had a rare heart disease after the pregnancy, and she had to go on the waiting list for a heart transplant. you know, there's so many of these real things going on, and you know, as we were approaching the community, they heard that we were coming through, and getting contacted by all these people to bring hope, I guess. You know, bring hope and to try and you know, have this country respond and we know we can do it. We know we can save more lives. My mom passed away a year and a half ago, and I'm doing it in her memory. When I'm walking, she thinking of her gets me through each day. And you know, I have brothers and sisters that are all behind me, and my dad's at home, and I feel a little bit guilty leaving him. Well, he's not alone, but you know, being away from him because he's getting, you know, a little bit old now, and so there, and I have many friends that I've known about this, and have been behind me, and there's one particular friend that I want to really acknowledge here, and that's Joe Camara over here.
Okay, yeah.
The nature of what we're doing here is extremely difficult, because you have to be very focused, and we have the bulk of the work that we have to carry on, not only through the walk, but you know, coordinating the walk and making sure that we have a place to sleep, eating, making sure that we're effectively bringing the awareness in each community. Our day starts from very early in the morning and stops at 2 a.m. at night.
Why do this?
Why? Because
why you, I guess.
Oh.
Like the need is there, but why is it needed?
Well, because I really feel that, you know, I was given a chance to live here, and it feels really, you know, at the end of the day, it feels, no matter what we have to go through, it feels like a small sacrifice. There's really no other way to explain that, because, you know, I really thought I was passing away. And to think that a family made that decision to a person that they didn't even know, like they you know, like I want to say thank you. Like you get the feeling of thanks when somebody returns their wallet or their purse to you and everything's in it, you know. So to think in terms that when somebody gave you a life, this is the only way I can, this is in gratitude, I'm expressing it by walking.
Okay.
What? Say what?
Your mom's name?
Oh, Rosa Marcello.
And,
Agostino.
and how old was your mom when she passed away?
69.
And your dad's?
Is 78 right now.
How many brothers and sisters would you have? Or-
I have 2 younger brothers
Okay.
and 1 older sister. I'm a management consultant at the WSIB, Workmen's Compensation,
Okay.
and he's got all the workmen's compensations involved in this in Ontario. As a matter of fact, while we were in Windsor, I was scheduled to visit the facility there,
Mm-hmm.
and what they gave me was an envelope with 200 signed donor cards in it. Every employee in that place signed.
Now,
Present, we don't even have distinguished what would be termed provincial and federal. You know, what would be, what can we do provincially in a case like this, and what can we do federally?
are there
So-
laws that govern the organ donation? or-
At present, we don't really have any firm guidelines, and this is what we're real behind in. Excuse me.
So if the cards are there, the wish is present, and the people, everyone cooperates with the medical staff, I guess, on hand or whatever at these circumstances, then that's what gets it rolling. But there's no guidelines or there's no.
Well, the guidelines that are used presently are the ones that the hospital official has to approach the family for the final decision. And there's a reason for that. It's a good reason why they need to do that. Because at present, you know, we only have the donor cards to go by. So, one of the legislations that the government would have to step in to change would, well, I don't know if they have to step in, like if that's the way it would have to be done, but I think at some point they would have to have their input on this. To create a national registry, we would need government support. It doesn't mean that they have to do it even, it just means that we would need their support. So whether it would start on a provincial level or a federal level, these are things that we're going to be finding out. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm meeting with the provincial government officials at Queen's Park. And Premier Harris has contacted our office a couple of times, his office, and we'll be meeting him after the walk is finished. That's to meet the Allen Rock. And we have a 1-800 number,
Okay.
563 5483, extension 4940. I guess where a lot of attention is needed is towards the younger people and the ethnic communities. So what we have on our agenda and some of our vision is to interest the younger people by by getting rock bands and celebrities to partake in this, and we feel that that would be a more better vehicle for the
Profile.
yes, exactly. So we already have interested groups that are going to be willing to help out, and also with the ethnic communities. We have Chin Radio and Television that have been sponsoring us from the beginning, that are helping to reach you know, all the different ethnic communities that they've been reaching for many years. And CFMT has also been helping us, and you know, the ethnic communities are a little bit harder to reach, because most of the new Canadians still need to feel a sense of being Canadiana sort of thing. So I think there's a little bit of reluctance, a little bit. They would, I think that they would probably prefer that their organs would go to their origin, you know, and that's just like a general speculation, but what we need to do is to make sure that we include all the ethnic communities in what we're doing here, so that we can all feel as Canadians. And people such as yourself, strongly, like yourself, taking an interest, the way you're taking an interest, and not only reporting a news story here, like, you know, an event, but taking such an interest to write with inspiration and working like a team here to address this. Like, that's been such a needed ingredient in all this. So, you know, just noticing your interest here is what it also gives me that inspiration to continue, you know, because, you know, we're all working as a team, and we're trying to, the bottom line, we're trying to save lives. And